Hi, welcome to Quilting with Lori. My name is Lori Dickman. Today I have a really quick project for you that you can use on your table or your buffet for Easter, for spring. It's a really fun and easy project. And here it is. This is a table run. It's called Peekaboo Bunny. This is a new pattern of mine. It's a PDF, so I'll have a link below and you can order this on my website and download it right away and start making it this afternoon. It's a fun project. 3 blocks is all, but you could make this as a baby quilt. There are so many possibilities working with these blocks. You can make a baby quilt, a lap quilt, maybe some pillows, some wonderful pillows. There's so much that you can do with these blocks. The PDF includes the templates, and I'm going to show you how you can use your scrap stash as you're working through this and making this today. I'm going to be making the table runner today, and there's 1 bunny quilt, or block, excuse me, that I'll be making, and 2 of the hidden eggs blocks that I'll be making. These are 9.5-inch unfinished blocks, and I'm going to be making it into a table runner. I already finished 1 of the hidden egg blocks. Really cute. Just a lot of fun. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and I'm going to teach you how to grab your scraps as you walk through this project and make this adorable table runner or lap quilt or a wall quilt from your scrap stash. So first of all, you want to download the instructions for the pattern once you've ordered it, and I'll have a link below in the description box. You can go out to my website, quiltingwithlori.com. Go to my shop, go under the PDFs, and you'll find it there as well. If you're watching this on YouTube TV, you might not be able to get to the description box, so you can go out to my website and actually order it there. But you'll get the instruction sheet. It's at 2 pages of the instructions. You will get the templates for the Peekaboo Bunny, and you'll get the instructions for the Hidden Eggs block. So you'll have everything that you need out there on the website or in that PDF, downloadable PDF. So you're going to be making 9.5-inch blocks, and if you do have 9.5-inch blocks or squares in your scrap stash, you can simply pull those or cut a strip from a 9.5-inch with the fabric strip from a background, and that's what I did. I wanted all of my background squares to match. So I just cut a 9.5-inch with the fabric strip, and I was able to get 3 of these blocks out of 1 with the fabric cut. So that's what I'm using from my background. You can go to your 2.5-inch strips and grab some wonderful borders. If you don't have some borders that you'd like to use with your background, then just go ahead and cut a width of fabric strip, or probably 2 of them, because you're going to need 2 of them that are 9.5 inches long. And you're going to need 2 that are 27.5 inches long, and then you're going to need your 2.5-inch quarter squares, or corner squares, excuse me. Now let's take a look at our PDFs. The first PDF I have here is the Peekaboo Bunny, and we have the bunny's face, his 2 ears, and note that one of his ears is bigger than the other one. This is his nose, and these are his 2 eyes. So I just have a little scrap of black on which I will use for these eyes. I grabbed a 5.5-inch square that I'm using for, I think it was a 6.5-inch square that I'm using for the bunny's face. I am pulling a 6.5-inch square that I'm using for the ears and the nose. I have pulled, let's look at the eggs here. And for the eggs, the pattern offers options where you can cut out little tiny circles and have speckled eggs if you want. I just chose to use patterned fabric, and I skipped using these. I didn't cut any of those out. It also has one of these eggs where you can make it 2 color if you want. So one color is lighter and one is darker if you choose to do that, because there are 4 eggs here. I simply traced 4 of these elements, and I used 4 different fabrics. So as you can see here, I've traced them pink, lavender, dark pink, and blue. And I've already cut out 1 of my blues, 1 of my lavenders, 1 of my light pinks, and 1 of my dark pinks. So I've got an egg already finished and ready in here. Then I pulled a 10-inch square of fabric for the grass clump. And if you'd like to, you could do a mirror image of the grass clump so that on each side they're kind of facing one another. So the grass clump looks like this if you trace it as it is. But I wanted a mirror image, so I went to the back side of it. I traced it so I could see it, and then that's how I created this one. I traced my fusible on this back side, so I actually have a mirror image of both of these. I apologize for the noise in that last clip. My Boston Terrier was upstairs barking at a squirrel, so apologize for that. So here we are with our PDFs. The next step that you're going to want to do, first of all, when you do download these templates and print them out, make sure you print them at 100%. That's very important. The size will be a little bit different if you just let your printer go ahead and print them. Often printers will fit to page, and that could be smaller or bigger than what it actually should be. So try and go into your settings when you're printing and make sure you print it 100%. And then I do not cut any of my templates apart ever. I always keep them intact with my pattern. You don't need to cut any of these apart. You are simply going to take your paper-backed fusible interfacing or webbing here, and I'm using a light heat and bond. I do recommend a light fusible. A soft fuse is a great one. There's so many different options available out there. Just use your favorite, but try and find a light one if you can. And then trace the elements that you want to use for the block or blocks, depending on what you're making. And trace all of them in groupings. So, for instance, I've traced all of my eggs here, and then I will loosely cut them out and put them on the proper, I'll put them on the back side of the correct fabric that I want to use. For the ears, let's take a look at that. I'm going to be having 2 pink ears and a pink nose. I'm simply going to place these on the wrong side. I've traced them on my fusible. I've loosely cut them out of my fusible, and now I'm going to press them to the wrong side of my fusible. So there's the right side, there's the wrong side. I'm going to press them down, and then once they're cool, I will cut them out on the dark line. And that's another thing I want to point out. When you are using fusible applique techniques, always just use the dark line. Ignore the dotted lines. Those dotted lines are for people who do like to use needle turn applique. So if you plan to do a needle turn applique, you will definitely want to cut out your fabrics then, including that 1/4 inch seam allowance, because as you're doing needle turn, then you're going to be folding that seam allowance under as you're hand appliquing that to your background block. But for fusible, you are ignoring that line and you are simply drawing, you're tracing your paper-backed fusible on the dark line, and then you're actually going to cut it on the dark line once it's been fused and cooled. So I'll be able to fuse this and then cut out the 2 ears and cut out the nose. For this white fabric, I want to find the back side. It's kind of hard sometimes on the whites to find out which side is the back side, but there we are. I will fuse the face of the bunny on the back side, and then I will cut it out. And for his little eyes, I will fuse that onto the black and cut out those eyes. And so that pretty much takes care of the bunny. I will be doing whiskers later, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So here is the other clump of grass, because I am making 2 blocks. This is my wrong side of the fabric, so I will fuse that down here. Once it has cooled, then I will cut it out on the drawn lines. And again, with all of my eggs, I will cut out each of these eggs loosely and put it on the back of each of these squares, fuse them. Once it's cool, I will cut it out on the dark line. So I'll go do that and bring it back and show that to you. Let's take a look at what I've done so far. I had fused the face of the bunny onto the white, and I've now laid it on the background block. I'm leaving about less than 1/4 inch from the bottom, because that will be my seam allowance there. I do want to stitch in the very bottom of that bunny, but I don't really want a whole bunch of that in my seam allowance. I have my nose here that I've placed in the center, And I also have the eyes, and you can decide where you like those eyes. I'm going to cut out the ears, and I will place those underneath, and you can reposition until you're happy with how the bunny's face and eyes and ears look. And when you're happy with what it looks like, then and only then press it. Once you press it, it is permanent. So I'm going to cut these out and place those on my bunny block. And then for my grass clump, I have this fused down. I'm going to cut it out on the dark lines. I'm going to cut out all 4 of these eggs. And again, I just simply used printed fabric for my eggs, and I didn't mess with all of the circles that's available in that template for you. And I'm going to cut those out and get those placed on the last block. I have everything cut out for this block to do my second grass clump, or the hidden eggs block. And I did my mirror image, so I want to try to place everything similar, but in a mirror image fashion to the other block here. I ended up having to turn them around and look at them to try and get them the same. They're not identical, and that's fine. They're just eggs hiding behind the grass. And I have appliqued 2 of the 3 blocks. This one I still need to applique. When I did my applique, I simply used a really short zigzag stitch. It's 1.5 in width, 1.5 in length, so I just used a very short zigzag stitch around all of the elements. For the little eyes, I just used a straight stitch and did an edge stitch around there. I did create the whiskers using a straight stitch, just some fun little whiskers for the bunny rabbit. And then I did applique a tiny little zigzag all the way around each of these elements. The thread that I used was an embroidery thread. It's a rayon. It's sort of a, I don't know, a deep olive, kind of a charcoaly color. And I just wanted a color that would really accent all of the parts and pieces of this, because it's kind of a busy background. So I wanted to make sure that the eggs were set off nicely and that the bunny was set off nicely. So I used this same thread. I could have gone through, and I've got all of these beautiful embroidery thread colors, and I could have gone ahead and appliqued each and every element in the color that it happened to be, so that's something you could certainly do. But I simply chose to use a charcoaly, it's kind of a deep olive color. And that's what I used for the applique portion. I've got the 3 blocks sewn together. I've added the 2.5 by 9.5 inch borders on the ends. Now I have my 27.5 inch by 2.5 inch wide borders that I'm going to add to the top and bottom. But before I do that, I'm going to make sure to add the 2.5 inch corner squares to each end. Once I have sewn those onto each end, then I can attach it together, and the table runner is then ready to be quilted and bound and ready to use. The table runner is ready to go. You could certainly make this into a wall quilt. You could add more blocks. Just be very creative. Maybe you could add some more eggs out in the corners of this table runner. There's so much that you can do with it. Just be creative and have fun. Enjoy your time in your quilt studio as you're creating. And so you can get this pattern out on my website. It is a PDF, and you can download it right away so that you can get started on this afternoon. My time involved in this is about maybe 2.5 hours to actually put this together, so it didn't take long. And then you can do some simple quilting, then get it bound and get it ready for your table. Thanks so much for stopping by today and watching as I've put together the Peekaboo Bunny table runner. If you do like the content that I provide on my channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. All of that really does help my channel to grow and to get out to other quilters just like yourself. And thank you so much for sharing my videos with your quilt guilds and with your quilting friends. Until next time, happy quilting.